There's a certain amount of guilt in owning a motorized vehicle, in my case a motorcycle. Like a car, it has an internal combustion engine that relies on fossil fuel, that causes carbon emissions, that contributes to the destruction of the planet, essentially. And if you've thought about where the electricity in your house comes from, there's a certain amount of guilt in that too, because at least in my case it comes from a power plant which relies again on fossil fuel, which creates carbon emissions and contributes to the destruction of the planet. And if I were to dispose of some household items by throwing them out onto my lawn and setting fire to them, I'd be feeling a certain amount of guilt watching all that smoke for the same reason. But I've realized that this guilt is somewhat misplaced. The sort of propaganda that we get is that we're bad for doing these things and we have to stop it because we're killing the planet. And now, it is true, right? It is true that we are destroying the planet. We're destroying our own home because of the way we live. I could get by with a bicycle, and I do have a bicycle, but I also have a motorcycle. And I am guilted somewhat, right? But the source of the problem isn't actually me as an individual. Let's do a little role play here. Imagine you're the last person on Earth. It's just you. And you decide to keep driving your car, scavenging for fuel from here and there. Are you contributing to the destruction of the planet by doing so? No, because it's just one person. And the planet is far stronger than just one person, you see? Imagine there were just 1 million people on the planet. Maybe there was some kind of disaster like the Black Plague that wiped out most of the world and left only 1 million people left. And they're all driving cars, causing carbon emissions. Are they destroying the planet? No, because it's just 1 million. But there are 7.5 billion of us causing carbon emissions. Well, not everybody is, because not everybody's affluent enough to own a motor vehicle or whatever. But the point I'm trying to make here is that somewhere between 1 and 7.5 billion is a tipping point where we start to cause problems for the planet. I don't know where that tipping point is. Is it at 1 billion people, 2 billion people, 3 billion people? I have no idea. I don't know how we would figure that out. But we know that we're past it because we know that we're causing problems. Yeah? So the real cause of the planet's problems is not so much an individual driving a car, lighting fires, using electricity. It's all about the numbers. And where do the numbers come from? They come from the fact that we're making too many people. Imagine a family, a man and wife, having 4 kids. Now, if that's you, some of my viewers typically will have large families. I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I'm just making an observation here. Try not to take this personally. So, your kids are essentially your replacements. They're replacing you. They're the next generation. So when you have 4 kids, the two parents, becomes 4. So that's a doubling. So imagine everybody lived like that. That means 7.5 billion people becomes 15 billion people in one generation. And that's not sustainable. Now, of course, not everybody's going to do that. But by having a large family, you're reliant on the fact that other people will either have very small families, like one child, or no children at all. And I think there's a certain amount of unintended selfishness in that. If you feel like it's your inalienable right to have as many kids as you want, yeah? There's a lack of thinking about the big picture. Because the problem is the numbers. And it's our fault. We decided that we could breed as much as we wanted to breed. And now we're in the mess that we're in. But I've never really heard ecology problems talked about in the context of families, large families. But it seems true to me. If there were less humans, we wouldn't be in this mess. You see? China has an overpopulation problem, and they have laws there about how many kids you can have. I personally would be okay if such laws were instituted here in the West, because the planet's heading for disaster. It is. You can say it's your inalienable right to have as many kids as you want, but that's selfish. I'm sorry, it is. And again, please don't take it personally if you have a large family. I know you probably weren't thinking about this when you were having your family. It's okay, right? I don't dislike you. So to end this on a positive note, if you can call this a positive note, I would simply say, do you want to save the world? Stop creating so many people. It's that simple. It's simple, but it's not going to happen, is it? Yeah. But that really is the answer. We've got to start making less human beings. Okay, folks. Take care.